thegearnetwork.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
This is the Listen In Podcast with your hosts, John Cimino and Brandon Gorell, here on the Gear Radio Network.
Hello, everyone. Yes, we are a week late. Don't tell my boss at the Gear Network on me, okay? I hear he's an asshole. But this is the Listen In Podcast, video cast. I am John Cimino at I am JC Money. Joining me over there, Mr. Brandon Gorell, my co-host. Brandon, say hello. He's not saying hello. He's doing the visual thing again.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up, everybody. And hey, thanks for supporting us by listening to the commercials. They listen to the podcast and the commercials, start to finish. Great way, easy way to support us. And also, too, if you click on the Raise Energy link that is in this episode description, we'll take you to repsports.com. You can buy all sorts of nutritional equipment, pre-workout formulas, post-workout formulas. They've got swag there. You could buy Rep Energy shirts and hats and all that stuff. You could buy Raise Energy drinks. And if you enter the promo code GEAR, G-E-R-E, at checkout, saves you 15%, just like Geico insurance, except you're actually going to be getting energized with it all. So that's a great way to support us, and we thank you. On today's show, ladies and gentlemen,
love the flexi you threw
little
up there,
flexi there. It's a little tribute to my buddy right here. He always liked to do the flex things.
I was a dumb shit and forgot to wear mine this week.
That's all right.
Dude, it's hard to do a podcast at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night on a work night.
Yeah, I know.
And being
I know.
40 plus.
It's you know what? It's crazy. We gotta try and maybe figure out a weekend for this or something. A weekend to start,
man, it's
taping.
gotta happen somehow.
But yeah, no, I know. We're probably looking at a condensed version today because Brandon and I are old. My kids do not want to go to sleep, and I'm trying to hit that. I'm trying to hit that hay. So
I had no kids tonight, and I was just snuggled up on the couch with a blanket watching Cobra Kai.
Yeah,
blew through like the first 5 episodes of season 3 plus the last 2 of season 2.
You know, when
as soon as work was done, I'm like, punch my card. I grabbed some food and I was like, all right, here we go. It's Cobra Kai time.
Dude, it's going to be Cobra Kai time for me tomorrow. I'll tell you what, those first
Amherst time
4 or 5 episodes. Oh, that's right. The Amherst, that'll be on TV.
It'll be on TV. And I know the AHL TV is free for like the first 2 weeks too.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I think it's in CW.
Trial.
I think CW's airing.
Yeah. There is a season schedule that they've released. They're going to have some televised games for the local folks that don't have the AHL TV.
Nice.
They hooked us season ticket holders up since we can't come to the arena right now. They hooked us up with a free membership to AHL TV. So we get to watch all the Amherst games, streaming on our devices. So we're going to hook up with the kids tomorrow.
Brandon, we were supposed to convene last week.
Yeah.
Situations came up for both of us. So before I get into my sob story, man, how the hell are you?
Oh, I'm salty still. I still think Green Bay should be in the Super Bowl right now. Kind of bullshit, but what can you do? Penalties.
Brandon,
wasn't a penalty the first 3 quarters of the game, but then all of a sudden it became a penalty in the last 2 minutes of the game.
Right.
On a 3rd down that would have first 4th down, but I digress.
Did you have the thought process at all once the game ended of going completely nuclear on anybody that dare mentioned anything about the Packers, good, bad, or indifferent, after the game was over, like Bills fans did?
No, I'm 41, man. Like, I've dealt with disappointment in life, and it's just, in the grand scheme of things, it sucks. But I was disappointed. I yelled at the TV when the call happened. I watched the clock tick down. I saw, them all celebrate and run to the field. And then as soon as they were getting ready to like interview Tom Brady, I was like, yeah, you know what, Tom, I typically like you, but go fuck yourself today. Changed the channel, turned it off. I started watching some of the Bills game, and then I had no interest. I lost all interest in football. As soon as my team lost, I was like, I don't fucking care right now. I don't care if both teams fucking score 70 points right now. It's not going to really interest me at all. Like it did nothing for me. I watched maybe the first like 7 minutes attentively.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just like was on my phone and just like fucking around and got the kids to bed.
Yeah, I
looked up and I was like, oh, the Bills are getting their ass whooped. Okay, well, whatever.
Well,
there's some bitching and whining going on right now, and I don't really care.
Tell you my particular conference championship Sunday was a little bit more painful than I think I had anticipated. So for those that that were wondering why, which is none of you, but if you were wondering why we didn't convene last week, let me share with you. So while I'm watching said Packers game, I'm downstairs in the almost finished, refurbished former Gear Network studio, former Champs bar that I labeled it, whatever, the man cave.
Yeah.
Down there, mind you, I hadn't even had a single beer. All right, I was stone cold sober. I was just hungry.
It's the worst way too.
So I'm sitting on my rocking chair downstairs, and I'm having a couple snacks or whatever, and I drop something on the floor, and I'm like, "Oh, I can't have this on my floor that I just, that we just laid down, and it's clean, and it's still got that new floor smell." So I'm like, "No, I'm not going to have potato chips or whatever the hell I was eating down in there." So it rolls underneath the recliner that I'm sitting on. And so I'm half paying attention to what's on the floor and half paying attention to what's on the screen and what's happening with Green Bay. And I innocently reach underneath the recliner, completely brain farting and forgetting that I'm sitting on there. And even though I'm at a slimmer weight than I was when I was married, still 165 pounds is 165 pounds when that
on one digit.
When that combined with the metal bars or whatever on the bottom and the back of the chair meets my digit.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I hear, and I'm like, ooh. I said, I felt that. I said that. God damn it, the Flames lost.
Yeah, it is.
So I said, I felt that. I said, I felt that. And the minute I let it, I was like, okay, 3, 2, 1. And I sit up and I hear, and I'm like, that's going to bleed. And I bring up the finger and I see the wound and I see the blood starting to slowly come up. And I'm like, fuck. Man. And I ran upstairs from downstairs. I'm running the thing underwater. I hog tie my finger because it's like bleeding.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things where I'm like, yeah, there's no way around this. I have to get this. Plus I was alone in the house when it happened too. So I was like, I'm not going to do something dumb and just say, oh, I'm just going to tape it up and I'll be good and drink some Robitussin and bleed out when I'm sleeping. No, thank you. So I hog tie it. So now I've got this wrap that's like just this freaking thick on my finger. I run to my car and I start going down the street, and all of a sudden 3 RPD police officers. They're obviously looking for somebody in one of the apartment complexes around where I live.
Yeah.
So they block, that street, the side street that, sort of connects Mount Reed Boulevard to my house. Mm-hmm. Like 2 RPD police officers were blocking the way out to the main road. So I had to go down the other side street to get to another one that would take me to the main road. But the 3rd RPD officer was driving at like literally 5 miles an hour in front of me. And I'm just sitting here like,
that's the guy that's got the donuts.
Right. And I'm sitting here like bleeding, like the blood is now seeping through what is probably about a good 6 or 7 layers of wrap, right? The blood is coming through. And I'm sitting here and I'm right behind him.
You hold it up?
And finally he
Did you hold your finger up?
Well, not yet.
Oh, why are you holding it up?
He comes to a stop, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, do I go around him? Now at this point I'm panicking, and of course, and Uncle Latin takes over and goes, beep, 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 beep. And I roll the window down. I was like, hey, you mind if this idiot who has a sliced digit and is bleeding out right now goes around you so he can go to the damn hospital? And he goes, and I freaking zoomed around him, shot there.
But what I'm saying is you got to keep it elevated, because if you keep it down, that's when all the blood's coming out, man. You got to keep it up. So
honestly, man, I was not thinking. I wasn't feeling anything. I was just.
Apparently, you've never cut yourself.
My tunnel vision was, I need to go. I know I'm bleeding.
Yeah.
So I get there to the ER, and they do their thing, and it 3 stitches is the end result of it. But while the whole process was going on, I was watching the game from ER, and I was seeing, and as
I cut my finger.
Thing, and the thing that hurt the most out of believe it or not, out of all of it, and this includes the actual incident happening where I sat on my finger. The part that hurt the most was when they did the needle for the Novocaine.
Yeah, for the Novocaine. Yeah,
that was the part that hurt the most
because it's sensitive in the area at that time. Right. You're very raw, and the blood's all flowing there, and the nerves are very agitated at that point, and that's why they have to hit you with that shit.
Yeah. But like,
I almost text you like the other day to not go to get your stitches removed. I was gonna say, if you want them done for free, Haley will do them for you. She loves doing those fucking things. She's like, popping out staples. It's like my favorite thing. She's like, staples, stitches, let's do it. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'll let them know. And then I forgot.
No. I mean, I probably would have taken you up on that, but I ended up just going to the doctor, and I think they're going to bill me. They didn't.
She does it all the time. Like,
they didn't charge me.
Yeah, they will bill you.
But
that's why she was saying, don't send them. She's like, I'll do it for them for free.
Oh.
Thanks,
Haley. Thanks, Haley, for the offer.
She does some really gross shit with her job. So,
you know what? All things considering, this whole thing was pretty gross for me. So I don't need any details as to what other gross shit she might be doing. But Miss Haley, thank you very much for thinking of me in the offer. And I promise you, if I ever do anything dumb like that and get stitches again, I'll reach out to you. But all right, so that was that. And then I got sick. Yeah. On top of that,
like a bitch.
It was a freaking double whammy of a week for me. So that's why. No, Jason.
I was ready to podcast, and I was
no listening.
He's done.
No, I was toast. I was toast there. All right, but in this time frame, we've had a full week to dissect everything.
This doesn't feel like Super Bowl week, you know?
It doesn't.
Media week. There's no real storylines. There's like nothing.
It's all virtual, I think.
Right. It is.
There's no Radio Row. There's no
Radio Row. There's no really crazy reporters asking players, weird questions. And,
right.
Like the most exciting thing that we had is like haircut gate, like the barber that had COVID, like mid haircuts, and like he was like four people in line away from cutting Mahomes' hair, and it was like, dude, yanked him out in the middle of a haircut. Like, you're done. Get out. You got COVID. Get the fuck out of here. You're going to ruin the Super Bowl.
So, speaking of the Super Bowl or the big game or whatever the hell we can or can't call it, depending on, what you believe with the NFL and their grip on the terminology, Super Bowl. We've got the Chiefs. We got the Buccaneers. First time ever, there's your storyline. First time ever a team is playing a Super Bowl in its home stadium. That's been hammered over and over again.
It's not as bad as Jerome Bettis being from Detroit.
No, it is not. Tom Brady making his 10th Super Bowl appearance. Going for ring number 7.
Yeah, he really needed that break against the Packers at the end of that game.
Coming off the heels of a season, mind you, at 43 years old. There's another storyline that you're going to be
fucking
hearing.
Team's loaded, though. I want to hear it.
40 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Pat Mahomes, 38 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Power Index, the ESPN Power Football Index, has a slight edge to the Kansas City Chiefs. 52.1% of those that took this survey, took that poll, picked Kansas City over Tampa Bay. I personally am going with, since I'm not getting I'm not getting my Super Bowl one rematch that I wanted. I'm only getting half of it.
Let you down.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah. Had to go to the NFC, didn't he?
Yeah, he sure did.
Fucking prick.
He is. So I'm actually pulling for my daughter Gianna's favorite team, the Kansas City Chiefs. Been big on Mahomes, been all that. It won't break my heart if the Buccaneers win and Brady gets 7, but I'm kind of riding with the new team. Brandon, who you got?
I'm rolling with Kansas City too, and I think the only X factor is I just have not seen anybody that can shut Mahomes down. The 49ers did it for 3 quarters last year. They were able to have a run game. They were able to kind of bully their way through the first 3 quarters, and then they got tired. And then all of a sudden Mahomes took over, and it was over in a flash. I think that San Francisco's defense was more physical, faster, and probably younger than Tampa Bay's defense. Tampa Bay's defense is also a little banged up, especially in their secondary, which is going to be key. I just don't see, with their style of defense, they play the cover 3 or cover 2, one of the two. I don't fucking remember. I'm just so out of it right now. They play zone defense.
Don't worry, you're amongst friends.
And zone defense leaves the middle of the field open. And that's where Travis Kelce fucking lives.
Mm-hmm.
That guy is probably the only guy I think that on the field that has a chance of winning MVP for the Super Bowl over Mahomes or Brady. Is Travis Kelce. I think Travis Kelce had a season that was comparable to a number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
The guy is just a hard cover. But when you're going to leave that much space open in the middle of the field, man, between that and Tyreek Hill, like Tyreek Hill making a hard up and then darting over towards the center of the field where the open spots are, the soft spots of the zone. I don't know, man. I don't know how you stop that. On the other side of the ball, their defense, I don't think it's very good, but I also don't put it in the category as bad either. And I think they'll make enough stops. I mean, they came in against a Buffalo offense that was pretty damn formidable. I mean, they had a good quarterback. They had a quarterback who can run. Tom Brady cannot, so they don't have to guard against that.
Right.
So they held Josh Allen pretty much in check and did the same thing with Stephon Diggs. And, Beasley had a pretty good game, but like no one else was able to get anything going. Their run game is slightly better than Buffalo's with Fournette and Ronald Jones, but Green Bay kind of shut down their run game too. What cost Green Bay was the interception that shouldn't have happened because it was clear defensive pass interference. I mean, he just pulled the jersey off of Lazard and ended up, he let go just in time to make the pick as Lazard's going down to the ground.
I don't want you to get upset again, man.
It's a difference between, we lost by 6 or we lost by 5. We lost the game by 5 and that's a touchdown they got off of that interception.
Yep.
Even if we don't score there, we still have a lead. So it's kind of frustrating that happened. But there was 2 turnovers, and that 2 turnovers, and that the one was a complete defensive lapse at the end of the half. If Kansas City avoids those mistakes, they have a real good shot at not just beating the Bucs, but I think beating them handily. Because I don't know how you stop that offense.
Todd Bowles is going to have a hell of a time crafting.
He's going to have a hell of a time crafting something up, but at the other side of the ball, Andy Reid is crafting up something even more.
That is also very true. Plus,
I'm taking Andy Reid's brain over Todd Bowles' brain any day.
Well, yeah, that's
nothing against Todd Bowles.
Not just Andy Reid's brain.
Let's be honest.
But you've got Mahomes' brain as well on top of that.
Right.
And clearly, he's displayed even at 24 or 25 years old that he is, even in this short period of time that he's played, he's displayed an intelligence that puts him at that level that you got a good coach like Reed, you got a good player like Mahomes that understands the game and understands what Reed is teaching him and can do what he needs to do to, either implement what Reed is or manipulate it enough to advance it or whatever. Like Mahomes has essentially extended Andy Reid's career, I think, by another 10 years.
Yeah, and the thing is that we've seen what Patrick Mahomes is before, and we saw it in young Aaron Rodgers, and we see it in old Aaron Rodgers. Pat Mahomes is very similar to Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people act like, Pat Mahomes is doing things that nobody's ever done. And I'm like, no. If you watch the way that Aaron Rodgers played and the arm angles that he threw at and the windows that you're like, how the hell do you throw that in there? Or the left-handed shovel passes. And, Aaron Rodgers has done all this stuff. It's not like we've missed it, but he's doing it at such a young age, and he's doing it with somebody who has the mind that matches his skill set.
Right.
We had dopey Mike McCarthy for so fucking long.
Well,
we had a good balanced team that first year when we won the Super Bowl because we were built with a defense to go with an old Brett Favre. And that's what we had. We had a defense that was there to try to get Brett Favre one more Super Bowl, but he didn't have the skill set that he had. Aaron Rodgers comes in the first year, doesn't do so great. Next year he comes in, they lose that crazy ass wild card game against the Cardinals, and then the year after that they're in the Super Bowl. But they had veterans on that team. They had a budding defense with Clay Matthews, and they had Nick Collins in the secondary running it.
That was a damn good. That was a damn good squad. You
had Charles Woodson on that team. They had a good balanced teams. They had Greg Jennings, young Jordy Nelson. They had Donald Driver over there, taking it in the slot. They had a good balanced team. And then as soon as Aaron showed what he can do, they went crazy on the offensive side and just tried to load up on the offense and ignored the defense. And they're like, oh, we're going to score 40 points a game every game. No big deal. But it doesn't always work out that way. And so when it came to a point where the defense needed to make a stop, we didn't have defenses that could make a stop. And it was very evident in a number of the playoff losses that the Packers had, including 2 Super Bowl trips that were basically taken away based on how bad the defense was. The defense could not get the ball back to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers did everything he could in that Seattle game. They didn't recover an onside kick. They blew that. And then Aaron Rodgers, still with a torn calf muscle, marches them down the field with less than a minute left to get down to a tying field goal to go overtime. They lose the coin toss, second play of overtime, 65-yard touchdown pass.
Right.
If Aaron had that kind, if he had a Matt LaFleur his whole career, I think Aaron would have more than one Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
Mike McCarthy is a fucking putz.
Yeah,
and it's showing in the amount of years that he wasted of Aaron Rodgers' career. But not only that, did he come to Dallas, and even when Dak wasn't hurt, they weren't really that good of a team.
Right.
They weren't going anywhere.
They weren't really doing much. But Dak clearly was proving that he was keeping them afloat, afloat as they were going to be in that system in that first year.
Yeah, I don't think
I will say this coach. Though, because I don't want to make this Packers Talk Weekly podcast.
No, and I'm trying to say is Pat Mahomes has that guy that understands that, yes, we've got to keep a creative offense. We've got to be fresh with it. We got to change it. McCarthy did not. He stayed with the same offense. Just
right. McCarthy ball, essentially.
Right.
He did the same thing that Marty Schottenheimer did.
Yeah. And Andy Reid is willing to adapt.
Right.
He sees what he has. He sees what the league is doing. And he takes pieces from everywhere and goes, you know what, I can implement that in here. And then we can create this kind of matchup. And he looks at matchups and he goes, okay, well, if they do this, then we can do that. And then when you've got that and you're in sync with what the quarterback thinks and sees at the same time, he can adapt to that too. So you're kind of reading off of each other.
Right.
And so that's why this regular season for the Chiefs didn't look that spectacular. They finished 14-2, but the last one was a give-up game. They didn't play any starters. The loss they had to the Raiders was the 2 games they played against the Raiders were baffling. I mean, they required Mahomes' miracle at the end to beat the Raiders
For the
second time,
Mm-hmm.
but they lost to him the first time. But some of the games you watch them and they just looked kind of bored. Like they were just kind of like, all right, I guess we'll go out and finish this game. And then they go and do it.
It's, it's funny you mention that because there was one week and I can't remember exactly what week. Maybe it might have been that second Raiders we had, but I remember distinctly texting you when it had looked like, they were just sluggish or whatever, or is this time? And then it was like, okay, Mahomes came down and 10 seconds later, boom, touchdown. Yeah. And then turnover and then game. You know what I mean?
Well, it was like that with the Miami game too. Mm-hmm. Miami did everything right in that first half. Mm-hmm. They picked Mahomes off 3 times, which doesn't happen very often. They got pressure on him.
Dolphins Twitter was acting like Cowboys Twitter that game. I remember.
They didn't score enough. And then the second half, he just picked him apart and blew him out. Like it went from like looking like, oh shit, the Chiefs look human to, oh no, never mind. They're fine.
Right. And that's the thing is with Mahomes is he can throw 3 interceptions in a game and still have you at the end of the game when he figures out what the hell happens. Yeah. And just like that Miami game, for example.
It's also Andy Reid.
Like you could look at them and be like, yeah, okay, he threw 3 interceptions, but you see what the hell happened in the second half? Like it just
but
it's one of those
adjustments,
weird things, man.
It's adjustments, but also it's good coaching because as much as like we're like, wow, they really took it to the Bills and everything like that. But you got to remember, like Mahomes missed the rest of that game. He missed almost 3/4 of that game against the Browns. Mm-hmm. And the Browns had a chance to beat them. But what did Andy Reid do? He goes on a 4th and 1 with a backup quarterback,
Chad Henne,
on a rollout bootleg and pass on 4th and 1.
Right.
Like that takes balls and it takes brains. It says, you know what? I see what the defense is doing, and this is what we're going to call. Mm-hmm. And Andy Reid puts that call in. He keeps these guys prepared. So if it is their number, if their number is called, they got to be ready. And they got to come in and they got to do what they got to do. And sure shit, there it is. And that's why I think that the combination of the two is going to make them as formidable as Belichick and Brady were.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Because Andy Reid is if he had an actual quarterback, McNabb was okay, but he got to 4 NFC Championship games.
Right.
With the Eagles, just couldn't get over the hump, lost in the Super Bowl to Tom Brady. Then he comes to Kansas City and then look what happens.
Right.
And it's amazing to me to like watch the guys' creativity on offense.
Right.
And it's just like, wow.
And
now he's got this quarterback who's like all world and is on the same page as Andy Reid.
Right.
You don't see them disagreeing. Like you don't see Mahomes call many audibles.
Right.
He'll call them when he needs to, but usually it's something that they've already kind of like discussed. Like,
think Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence will have that same kinship?
Fuck out of here.
The one point I wanted to make about the Packers.
Piece of shit.
Well, the one point I wanted to make about the Packers before we veered off and went and started talking about Mahomes here, and I'll do this before we go to a quick commercial break, but I was originally on they need to get Aaron Rodgers help. They didn't do very well with the draft, and they needed, Aaron Rodgers needs this weapon around him and this weapon around him and this weapon around him. And I was on this very podcast in the very beginning of the season. I even said it. I said it when they drafted Jordan Love, that I thought it was a mistake and that they should have gone wide receiver. They should have gone something else. And I'm here to say publicly, Green Bay, you do your thing. I will never doubt you again.
I just kind of want to review that draft a little bit because a lot of people gave it a lot of bad marks and really shit all over it and said, well, they didn't draft and they didn't, give Aaron any help. He had the help there. They just need to develop.
Indeed.
Who was the leading receiver in that game against the Bucs? It wasn't Devontae Adams. It was Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah.
A guy who had some issues with some drops and being inconsistent, kind of like a guy named Devontae Adams early in his career.
Right.
Devontae Adams was my buddy Eric, hated the fucking guy. He's like, we got to get this guy out of here. He drops too many passes. He's not very sure-handed. He's a mess. And that was after the first season and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden Devontae turned into Devontae, and it was like, oh
right.
shit. I think MVS is going to do the same thing, but he's got more speed than Devontae does. So he gives him that deep threat.
We'll see. Because there were a few times that you yourself were not happy with that dude's performance.
I wasn't happy with that guy, but we also lost Lazard too. He had a core muscle injury after he had his biggest game of his career with that core muscle injury. It was against the Saints that game with no Devontae Adams. But that draft, we had A.J. Dillon in the next round.
Mm-hmm.
He is an insurance piece because we knew that Jones and Williams are both up for free agent contracts. Right. He ain't going to be able to sign both unless they both take a huge discount.
Right.
But we need somebody. And you saw what Dillon did against Tennessee with both of them out. Jones was out with a sore ankle, and Williams was on the COVID list. And then Dillon comes in and runs for 143 yards and 2 touchdowns.
All right.
So we have that. We lost Degura as the tight end. We dropped him in the 3rd round, and he will be a great complement with Tanyan. But then the insurance pieces came, the later draft picks, the John Runyons.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys stepped in when we needed people on defense or on offensive line help, when we had injuries, when we had Bakhtiari and we had to shift guys around. Runyon became huge. They did really well in the draft. There's still some guys the jury's kind of out on because they didn't get a lot of reps. They played mostly special teams because they were rookies and they didn't have spots. But this team's drafting has been pretty spot on. I mean, Rashawn Gary's turning into a threat on the other side of the ball. He was the year before his 1st round pick when they were like, oh, you should pick offense in that 1st round. We picked defense. I found this on the Shut up, Siri.
Oh, Siri making another appearance on the podcast.
I think that they'll be back, and I think that they may pick up a slot receiver on the cheap, but I don't see much changes happening with the team.
That's very fair. We'll leave it at that with that talk. Brandon and I both have the Chiefs for the Super Bowl. That's our picks. We're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to come back. Brandon's going to give us his 3 headlines. That's right. Remember the headline segment? Brandon's giving us the headlines. I know nothing of them, so it's improv from here on out. When we come back on the other side of this commercial break, stick around. We'll be right back.
What's up, Rock Soldiers? This is Robbie Vegas coming at you from the All Bets Are Off podcast. If you are into horror movies, the paranormal, professional wrestling, or music, this is the place for you. We're bringing you the latest and greatest interviews in all of the above: music, horror, and of course, professional wrestling. So tune in on the Gear Network. Check out All Bets Are Off. Rate us, like us, subscribe to us, leave us your comments, tell us what you think. And we'll catch you soon on the All Bets Are Off podcast, dropping every Sunday at noon.
The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here!
We are back on the Listen In podcast. John Cimino here. Brandon Gorell there. And also, you know what? I just want to let everybody know really quickly, if you are in the Tampa Bay market and you're thinking, you know what? I know tickets are available. I want to go buy a ticket to go to the Super Bowl. Well, I'll tell you, tickets are available for as low, Brandon, as $4,313. So,
I mean, it's about what it is when there isn't a pandemic. So it's always expensive.
Go get your tickets. Low price. $4,313. Go watch football.
My AMC stock would have came through.
There we go. There, all you GameStop guys can,
There's some people that made some serious money on that.
Yeah, I bet. I was a little far too late to that game, but
we're
hopefully looking at. Okay, so Brandon, my man, I pass the baton to you. The headlines, take it away.
Okay. The first one here is a great one that happened yesterday. Kind of made me laugh. Typically, when you you get that little buzz on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's an emergency and you're like, oh shit, what the hell is that? Because like you have your thing on silent, you have no vibration, but all of a sudden this thing's coming through. So
Like the Amber Alerts.
Amber Alerts is usually one, like when President Dipshit tested the emergency system, we got the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, Amber Alerts go through.
Could you imagine if he used that shit as his Twitter in his final 2 weeks?
I can imagine. So usually when Amber Alerts happen, it's nothing funny. It's nothing to joke about.
No, we never joke
except
about that.
for the one that just happened here in Texas.
Oh boy.
There was an Amber Alert out for Chucky.
Chucky.
The doll from Child's Play. They screwed up for their local Amber Alert in Texas DPS. Chucky Glenn Ray, Child's Play horror character. There is a legit Amber Alert out that was for Chucky. You can't really see it.
I see it. I can make it out.
It's Chucky and Glenn. They put the Amber Alert out, and they did it not once but twice.
This was in Texas, where
yeah.
I mean the weekday podcast is kicking me in the groin here. Where in Texas was this?
It was. Hold on, pulling it back up here.
Going somewhere with this.
I don't know. It doesn't say. It just says Texas. No? I got this from the Independent in the UK.
Okay, so Texas. That's
Texas authorities.
It's a state you should avoid anyways, but definitely avoid
for Chucky.
Avoid it now because Chucky on the loose, baby. On the loose. Chucky on the loose, baby.
He was not found.
All right. He was not found. Imagine that. Okay.
Yeah. I think I swore I had the place it was from.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, when you think about it, Brandon, Texas.
It was Henderson, Texas.
Same.
Henderson, Texas.
Oh, Henderson, Texas.
Yeah, Henderson, Texas.
Anybody that I've met with the last name Henderson has been a freaking moron. So that
right.
should.
So
here's tell you what I think about Henderson, Texas.
Here's one.
I'm sorry, Henderson, Texas, but none of y'all listen to me out there anyways. And if you did, I don't like Texas. I'll never go there.
Here's a new one. Florida man.
The home office.
Florida man.
The home office.
Florida man. Florida man facing sex crimes sets up GoFundMe to get help fleeing the country.
To get help, a GoFundMe to get help fleeing the country.
Yes. Police say that Keith Morris Smith Jr., 29 years old, created a fundraiser titled Trying to Be Free and set a donation goal of $2,000. He is facing multiple charges, including committing a sex crime on a child between the ages of 12 and 16. And in there, it says, I'm fundraising to basically live. I was on bond that was revoked over something I never did, stated the man on GoFundMe that has now been taken down. Now I'm on the run. Smith wrote on the page he needed cash to flee the country because he believed he'd die if he went back to jail. There's no going back now. I've already cut off my monitor and I got rid of most of my things except clothes. If I go back to jail, I'll die. I need help with the money to get out of the country, he wrote.
And this guy actually thought putting this all out in public on the World Wide Web would work.
I have no assets because I sold everything of value to get out of jail after fighting the case for over a year, just to have it unjustly taken by a lie and a corrupt establishment. I have started a vlog to show my journey.
Okay.
For 3 days, the criminal sob story failed to win over any benefactors and was taken down Wednesday by GoFundMe for violating the terms of service. Smith was featured on Clay County Sheriff's Office's Fugitive Friday weekly video on Facebook.
Fugitive Friday.
which it decided to air early Wednesday following the audacious fundraising attempt.
I think
This
we
week
have.
we're going to doing.
I think we
Fugitive
have the name
Friday.
of this week's podcast now. Fugitive Friday.
A little early this week because we really would like to get to this fugitive back behind bars. Keith Morris Smith Jr. is wanted in Clay County. He was initially arrested on multiple charges, including committing a sex crime on a person 12 to 16 years old.
Jesus Christ,
On
man.
bonds with conditions, and he violated them. He also cut off his ankle bracelet and started a GoFundMe account to get out of the country. The cops implored anyone that has information to come forward.
Oh, well, Brandon, you know what they say.
Anything goes in Florida. Hello,
Anything goes in Florida. That's right.
And our last one is a pretty great one too.
Seriously, one of my
favorite.
favorite songs ever from that show is "Anything Goes in Florida" because it's so fucking accurate.
It is. It's true. It's a mess down there.
All right. Well done. Well done. What's the next one?
So this one comes from the UK. This woman, Yvette Amos, spoke with BBC Wales about a job.
No relation to John Amos, you think, huh?
No.
Okay. He's in Coming to America too, by the way.
She was struggles during the pandemic shutdowns. There was an object that was on her bookshelf.
An object
over her shoulder.
Well, what kind of object?
This object, as many people may have already seen, had a giant dildo sitting on her bookshelf.
All right.
She was doing the interview.
All right.
If you can see.
You go, young lady. You go.
If you can see in the camera. This is Yvette.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yvette was doing an interview. And there's Yvette's extra book sitting up there on BBC television. And she is now being decried as a national hero. And of course, many people have gotten in on the party.
Okay.
Including someone else sitting down for an interview.
No.
Mr. Bernie Sanders is sitting there with an interview with a dildo meme in the background.
The Bernie meme. That's outstanding.
So, yeah, this happened in Wales.
Wales.
Yeah.
All right. And what was this lady's name again?
Yvette Amos.
Yvette Amos. Yvette Amos, no relation to John Amos, but you, my dear.
Tori Amos.
To quote the great Anthony Jeselnik. And as I said at the end of last time you did the headlines here, you shine on, you crazy diamond. All right. that was
You're in charge of headlines for next week.
Was that the headline? That was it for this week? 3 of them.
Unless you want to talk about Lil Uzi Vert's $24 million diamond that he had put into his forehead.
Who?
Lil Uzi Vert.
Who the hell's that?
He's a rapper.
Little Uzi is what his name is?
Yeah. And he's got this diamond surgically implanted.
Why the fuck would anybody do that?
$24 million diamond, by the way.
A $24 million diamond. He had it surgically implanted in his head?
Yes. 11 karat.
I've never
diamond.
even heard of this guy. Is he any good?
He's all right.
By all right, is he?
He's all right enough to be able to afford a $24 million diamond in his forehead.
Is he like one of those rappers like it's like
he's a today rapper.
On the chair, plates on the sink.
No,
like that kind of crap.
No, he's a little more established than that.
Okay, good, because that rap sucks.
Yeah, it does. I'm trying to think of his
dildo on the shelf, dildo on the shelf. Dildo on the shelf. Dildo on the shelf. That's just all you got to do. Is just got to sing that over and over again.
I mean, he's got a lot of stuff out.
All right,
but
24 karat diamond. That's kind
24 karat diamond.
That's kind of nasty. And I would think that if you make that much money, and you there's got to be something better you can do than implant a 24 karat diamond into your head. But maybe that's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just my age talking here. I have no
He's going to stand out.
Stand out.
Stand out like a dildo on a bookshelf.
I'm sure if the tattoo across his forehead didn't do that, then
well, maybe because he wasn't getting enough views with the tattoo across his forehead.
Yeah, it could be.
Could dress it up a little bit more.
The things people do for attention. But all right.
Yeah.
With that being said, I've got nothing else. Brandon, what are you looking forward to this weekend?
Super Bowl, Ameryk's opener tomorrow. Should be fun. There's no Pens games this weekend because they got the COVID break because the Devils had some players test positive, so their games got canceled. So Pens are getting a nice little break because they can use it because they have 7 guys down on their blue line, and they're somehow still holding it together. So pretty much just those 2 things. Might get some sledding in this weekend. We'll see.
Assuming it snows again or all the snow doesn't melt, but
it's supposed to get cold this weekend again, and we're supposed to get some snow.
Okay, good.
Well, then snowstorm by next weekend.
Sled away, y'all.
Dude, the snow has been a dick this time around because it was so cold when it all came down. When heat, obviously comes and escapes out of your house, does a lot of icicles and shit. It messed with my garage door, both doors, the side door and the actual garage door. Wanted to do the garage door opener, one of the hinges popped and then it actually came off the cable because it was so stuck from the ice coming down, and it was melting during the day and then got bitch ass cold at night, and it froze all that water instantly.
Oh.
So I didn't know about that, and then it also leaked down around the front of my door. It was coming down from the gutters and stuff, and it got into the actual door jamb. So I tried to get out of the door, and I couldn't open the door. It was frozen shut.
Oh shit!
So I had to go through the garage door, and that's what was also frozen shut. Didn't know it until I pushed the button, and it went. It was like crank, 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 and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh yeah.
So I had that problem, and then we had even more snow come. The last storm that we had was another 4 inches. I didn't get out to roof rake, and it leaked in my fucking bathroom again. Yeah, after I fixed that ceiling fixed the whole thing.
That has been a never-ending battle for you.
Yeah, and I know exactly where it is. What it is that it runs down the side of the dormer in the room I'm in right now. It runs down to the corner, and it builds up at the corner of there. So when it melts, it builds into a little ice dam at the end of the thing. And when it melts, it forces its way towards the wall, and then it gets into the wall, and then it goes straight down, which goes right down the soil stack, catches the soil stack, and then decides either it's going to go straight down or it's going to go to my bathroom again. So it did in my bathroom. It wasn't a real heavy leak, but I do have some water spots and a little repair that I got to do with it, but I'm so fucking pissed.
That sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
I just walked in the bathroom the other day, and I went to go take a piss, and then I was standing there, and then right on my shoulder, I was like, the fuck? And I look up, and there's just droplets. I was like, no, god damn it. I ran outside afterwards at 9:30 at night in the freezing fucking cold, grabbed the roof rake, pulled it all down from that area, and I could see the fucking pile that was just frozen at the corner. Just melted all there, and I was scraping away as much as I can. Once it fucking went away, nothing again. And I've been able to avoid it because that's what they told me. They said it builds up at the end here, and it says we put the stuff around. And he says, but it could get in through the siding. So I've been out roof raking all the time, and I had roof raked the first time we got the snow, and it was fine. Second time I didn't get out there because it snowed at night, and I was just like, well, I got to wait for this to go and stop because it was coming down heavy and it was coming down really windy. I was like, there's no sense of going out right now and doing the driveway because I just wait for the snow to wait. And then I was like, fucking bathroom's leaking. I was like, god damn it, now I have to go out,
dude.
So yeah, this snow sucked ass this time.
Yeah, I'm at the point now. It's not, winter's not cute anymore.
No,
we're in that We're in that.
No.
Holidays are over. Where was February, March, April, May? So we're 3 months and some change away from opening my pool.
Yeah.
As hard as it is to say, as hard as it is to imagine at this point right now, given what we've had, I'm ready to open the pool and be out in the back and doing that. What's that?
I'm ready to move. I fucking hate this place now. I used to love Rochester and you got the greater appreciation for spring and summer because of the winter. Yeah. Now the winter is just for fucking ever, and I'm just like, why do I live in a place that makes my face hurt?
Yeah, I know. I'm with you there. I'm with you there.
Take that fucking dog outside all the time in it, and
every time I talk like that, though, Brandon, my Florida contingency always says, "Come to Florida, come to Florida." And
there's plenty of warm places besides that fucked up cesspool.
Right. I always say no, because my goal is Bermuda. I'd like to move to Bermuda when I'm old and gray.
The Triangle.
If I get lost in there, good riddance, man.
How are we gonna do the podcast?
What's that?
How are we gonna do the podcast?
Gianna will take over for me.
All right.
All right. Well, with that being said, she just can't drop any F-bombs until she's 16. Anyways, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen,
I know she's dropped
a few of them on text that I've.
I told mine as soon as she's a teen, she can start to swear.
Oh, well, that was awful nice of you.
Yeah. It just gets me off the hook, man, because I swear all the time without impunity, and I'm just like, it's not a great example, but at the same time, I'm just like, it's a fucking word.
It's definitely not a great example.
And I just go, you know what? When you turn 13, you can swear too, just not the F word, but not excessively. Like if you say shit or whatever, I'm not gonna get mad. I'll be 13. Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, all her friends are all fucking saying it now, anyways, and they're saying more foul shit than
I know.
So I'm just like, so they're gonna say it in the open. I don't give a fuck. Like, just say it.
I don't know. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. I'm still holding on to their youth as much as I can. But
let go, man. It only makes it harder.
I know.
Trust me.
I know. All right. That's going to do it for this edition of the podcast here. I appreciate everybody tuning in, listening to us ramble about literally everything with these bags under my eyes right now, as you can tell. Yours too. But thank you all again for supporting us by listening to the podcast, listening to the commercials. And again, Raise Energy Drink. The link is in the episode description. Go ahead, click there. If it's not the energy drink and you need some pre-workout formula, post-workout formula, anything like that, repsports.com. We'll hook you up. Promo code GEAR for 15% off your order at checkout. Big and awesome. And
that's Raise, R-A-Z-E, not R-A-Y apostrophe S.
No, not
R-A-Y. Really different something.
No, it's R-A-Z-E. Brandon, thank you. We will convene and we will do this again next week, probably at a much friendlier time for us over 40, the over 40 crowd here. What do you think? Good with that, or do that?
Yeah, there's a Raise Energy Corp in Troy, New York, so I don't want anyone getting confused and sending them.
That is not that. Just don't get confused. Don't listen to him. Him. He's over here on this side.
Raise, R-A-Z-E.
Don't listen to him.
Don't listen to me. I'm doing it.
Click the link in the podcast description. It will take you to repsports.com, reppsports.com. But do it through our link. That helps us out. Brandon, good day to you, sir.
Day to you as well.
So long, everybody. Good night now. Flava Flav, it's time. You know what that means.
Yeah, boy!
Hang on, one more thing before you go. Remember, listen to our sponsors following this podcast, as that does help this podcast and this network out in a way that we appreciate very, very much. So if you could just ride it out 30 to 60 more seconds after this podcast is over, listen to those commercials. It would be doing us a very, very big solid. And again, we thank you.
This has been a presentation of the Gear Radio Network. For more, log on to gearnetwork.com.